All right, so this is Marcus.
Hello.
And I hear that you're one of the success stories of the Still Winds Ministries program.
So far, yes. Hopefully that'll continue, but yeah, I am. My history with Jennifer goes back, honestly, to 2006, my senior year of high school at Blue Ridge, when she first started kind of her therapy. After I graduated, a mutual friend of ours named Robbie actually let me know that she had started her own practice,
okay.
which was Still Wind. And I reached out to her with the contact information that Robbie gave me, and then found her in 2011 and been kind of on and off with her pretty much ever since.
Okay. So you saw her in high school, and then, you kind of went through that spell or whatever, and then you went off to college.
That's right.
And then more things happened.
Yes, indeed. A lot of stuff happened. I lost my mom to gun violence in 2009.
Wow.
And that was, I was 21, 2 months shy of turning 21 at that time when that happened. And being that age in college, trying to just balance general life stuff there at that point, and then having that happen at the same time, really turned everything upside down, and was able to find and start on the right path to coming to terms with that, and being able to realize what I needed to do to start actually dealing with the heavy hitting emotions that were tied with that.
Right.
So
that's huge.
yeah.
And then what happened?
So I had just started a new job at Haley and Aldrich, which was a local geotechnical engineering firm in Greenville that was based out of Boston. And so had been moving forward a little bit in life, starting a new career, just had graduated and came back to Greenville. Unfortunately, just given the nature of the work, I lost my job. And that was kind of what started me back down into a not good place, because it was like, I just graduated Furman after feeling that victory of, hey, I survived everything that happened here, learned good coping mechanisms at that time, and it just kind of felt like everything fell apart. And so I found Jennifer at Still Wind pretty much right around that point, and we revisited pretty much everything that happened during my years at college, and then kind of dealt with all of the feelings that were arising from that perceived failure, as if it was somehow my fault that my job was gone. And I was probably with her for about 6 to 7 months continuous there at that point. Honestly, because again, I had lost my job, there was no real way for me to continue going to therapy. And I remember sitting there on the couch just telling her, like, this is going to probably have to be our last one, because there's no way I'm going to be able to do that.
Right.
And that was when she first let me know about the scholarship program that was offered through Still Wind. And that was legitimately the only reason and way that I was able to continue going forward, to even start to really learn to cope and deal with these things, was because of the scholarship program at Still Wind.
Okay, so you had come back on your own for a while and paying for it, but then you've lost your job. So then you have to pick now between, it's just, now you're caught in a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that was unfortunately the same experience where I was attempting to go before. They didn't have any options like that. And that was one of the reasons why I kind of started looking back at rejoining, a couple months after this, was going back to Still Wind, was because again the scholarship program was present and available to use.
That kind of thing happens all the time, and I think people don't realize that that's a really common issue. And
absolutely,
sometimes I think treatment gets a bad rap. It's like treatment doesn't work, but it's really not that treatment doesn't work. It's just that most people don't get sufficient treatment.
There's a perceived paywall, and there are resources available for people, but they're trapped behind even just from a client perspective, this almost insurmountable obstacle of how am I even going to be able to afford to continue doing it? Like, I know I need help.
Right.
I know I need to be able to talk to somebody and learn something, but the means just aren't there for them to be able to access them.
Right. And I have to think, I don't know for sure if this is the case, but as you're telling the story, just knowing mental health, there are, and I talked to Jennifer a little about this, but there are free services out there for severe chronic mental illness.
Correct.
That you could get through, like mental health or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you really need help, clearly, but you're stuck. You're kind of in that middle ground.
Absolutely.
Where you don't really have much option.
Yeah, and this PTSD, major depressive, like the diagnosis goes on, generalized anxiety, major depressive disorder, the whole nine. And I mean, even with those, you're absolutely correct. I wasn't able to qualify for those things.
Right. You wouldn't have been a candidate. So you would have just been out of luck, basically.
Pretty much. And that was one of the reasons that I was able to continue even getting better. And this is just kind of like what we've talked about in the past. Jennifer and I, almost kind of a little inside joke with us is, given the length of our history with me, I started seeing her in high school and then coming into Stillwind in 2011 with the scholarship program and growing from there. It's as therapy has kind of evolved and changed, and new research and methods have come out that have been able to better help deal with the issues that I've had. It's kind of like I was able to come back like right when that happened, and just alongside utilizing the scholarship program to be able to come back. And so we've always kind of done this a little bit, but then over the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, we've been able to be consistent. And that's been, when the scholarship was available and I needed it, it was there. And that was the only reason for my continuity of care, getting me to where, I can't even begin to express the difference and change in my life. And the growth season that I've been in over the last year has just been phenomenal and would not have been possible otherwise.
Well, tell us a little bit about life now.
Oh, wow. So life now, I'm actually the associate pastor at Trailside Church in Travelers Rest, South Carolina.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I heard you say something about geos or something a minute ago.
Yep.
I feel like this is like a hard right turn. What?
Absolutely. So I just dealing with the chaos of trying to navigate life. Was working in geotechnical engineering. I was my degree from Furman was in geology, earth and environmental science, and I worked at 4 different firms doing contract work with them for a while, and it was a very, very cutthroat environment, which was not honestly what I was expecting with that. And you only have a certain number of billable hours you can do per project. And what wound up happening with me at the different companies I was with was we hit like the third and the fourth quarter when money and funding started running low, and I got hit every time at these different companies with layoffs because they just didn't have the money to keep new people on. So I kind of got recycled through on an introductory level there, and that was a large part of the stress, was not being able to keep a stable job and stuff through that process. And then so I did a hard right into a different career field. I actually got into medicine, where I served as a medical assistant and a scribe for going on 6 years, and just kind of in this process of going through that with Jennifer and really feeling like I'd kind of found I was serving people and helping, heal people, not just with physical, also mental issues themselves. Because again, depression and anxiety, those are not just mental; they also have physiological effects on people. And so, being in medicine, I was also able to see that. And that's when I realized, in tandem with the counseling in that career, that I was actually receiving a call to ministry. The therapy that I've been able to consistently have with Jennifer at Stillwind, it's helped me find my calling in life. I'm married now to my wife, JC. We got married in 2013. I'm a father now, which is something that was something that if you were to have asked me that in 2010, 2009, if that would have ever happened, there's no way.
You would have thought you're crazy.
I would have thought I was incapable. I couldn't even love myself and take care of myself well, let alone a child. But I'm worlds from where I was before.
You know what I love about your story, and I see this often, is when one person gets better, it's really not just one person. It's their whole family.
Absolutely. And
for you, your whole community that you're now serving and helping, and it really does sort of domino or spiral out to everyone around you.
Bad waves aren't the only ones that spread out. And when something good like this happens, it affects my wife, it affects my child, but also my father, my sister, other members of my family, and even some of my friends. And the beauty of this too is I've been able to fight through this almost schism that's present with people with mental health anyway, because especially here in the South, it's always been something like, we don't talk about each other's business, we don't talk about mental health, we don't talk about this. And I can stand as a success of this and say like, hey, there's no reason to be afraid of this. There's no reason to be afraid of the issues that you're dealing with. Like there is help available. Stillwind has been here, the scholarship program making it available and affordable to me. There's the only justification that you can come up with not going is when you're convincing yourself that it's not possible, but it is.
Yeah. So if you would like to get involved or know more about Stillman Ministries, you can click the link below this video and learn more about that and how you might can contribute to being an important part of changing someone else's life.
Absolutely. It changed mine, and I am eternally grateful to Stillwind and also to the generous donors that made that possible for me. Because without you guys being willing to invest in this, I wouldn't have a story to tell. Or at least it'd be a very different one than what you heard today.
And I feel strongly that your turnaround is going to help a lot of other people.
That's the goal.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, guys.